Hey, good afternoon, guys. This is Stephen Howard. My dog Yucca, Rio, and Baby Bear are back with Jonathan and my father at the cabin. Uh, Lots happened in the past few months, so much so that it's kind of hard to put into emotion or thought or even speech. But I can tell you that taking care of somebody who's 78, just turned 79 years old, with dementia has been life altering. Um, I'm taking care of my dad and making sure that he's okay, and every step I take is like 10 steps back. So he lost all of his identification. He needed a new birth certificate. We got the birth certificate, and then when we got the social security card, they did not match the last name. So I have to put in a request for altering the birth certificate to match the social, and they understand, but that process will take 4 to 5 months. So in the meantime, we're hand to mouth. I work a full-time job as a chef at KT's Hayloft in Lolo. I'm a river guide and I own my own company, but it hasn't really started yet. And I've been really shot in the foot trying to get things going. So I'm just trying to develop, a thing that'll work out well for everyone, and making agreements, and then trying to figure out what I'm going to do about car payment, rent, feeding us, everything else. So it's just been nearly impossible. I do take donations. My telephone number is 406-550-6021. If you want to help us out a little bit in between now and the time that my father, he's just in the process. His brain has shrunk about 20%. He's not frail, but he did have a seizure the other day, and we went and got seizure medication. We've had big scares. My dad has escapism, so he's constantly trying to escape the cabin and leave us, and he thinks he's going to walk back to Las Vegas and that everything's going to go back to normal, and he has no cognitive reasoning. So we did a test with the doctor the other day, and she said basically, it's almost a zero as far as cognitive reasoning. So I've really kind of had a hard time with this, accepting it, developing a routine, trying to figure out all the other things that I need to do. And I used to be a procrastinator. I would be somebody who'd be like, oh yeah, we'll take care of that next week, or I'll put it on the calendar and, forget about it. And I'm proactive now. Everything that I do and say and is proactive, and right now, and needs to happen as soon as possible. And I'll keep my mind to it until it's complete. So, and then I've had his family back out as far as any support or help. I've had my father just coming out here for a walk, but I'm walking the train tracks, and right out there, you can kind of see it, is the Bitterroot River. So I'll try and get down to the river here in a second. Hopefully I don't run out of time. But I just want you guys to know I've been dealing with life stuff, and I've been dealing with my own stuff, and I can't really project and do all the channeling things and all the stuff that I did on my YouTube channel before, because my brain space hasn't been relaxed or in calm enough. I've just been go, go, go. So the other day, my father ran off from the cabin, and we drove around the mountain for 15, 20 minutes, and I said, we're not going to find him. It's like a needle in the haystack. And I drove back home to see if he had returned home, which he had not. And I called search and rescue and Missoula sheriff, and they were on their way with some search dogs. And I basically went into my room, sat down on my bed, put my hands in my head, quieted myself, controlled my breathing, and I had a vision of a fork. And it was a fork in a road. And I said, Jonathan, let's go. He's probably walked out onto the road by now, out of the forest. He was trying to hide. And we need to look for him really carefully, because as soon as he hears the crunch of our vehicle tires, he's going to run off and hide somewhere. And he's not that fast. He's 79 years old. So I drove down to the fork by my neighbor's mats, and dang it, I looked right over my shoulder, and there's my dad running up the hill with a couple of sticks, like walking poles. And I ran up there and I, hollered at him, and, like a lost dog, trying to get him back into the car, and turned into, a whole thing. And then I had to call the cops back and explain I found my father, and thank God. And, we don't want to chain the man to bed, and alarms, and GPS things in his shoes. There's all this stuff that people are suggesting we do. So, me as an empath, a psychic, and a healer, I'm trying to heal a man that's basically unhealable, headed towards where the mind shut off the body. And it's a really sad state of affairs. I could get really upset right now. But the honest truth is, I want him to have the best quality of life. The best quality of life he can have before he dies. It's a real simple thing. He has 3 meals a day, or at least 2 really good ones. He has, proper place to live and feel comfortable, and he has animals around him, and he's in an environment that's probably not the safest, but it's way better than a hospital bed somewhere staring at a screen TV, dying to watch the news. So if you kind of catch my drift on that, wouldn't you want to die up in a cabin up on the mountain instead of in a hospital bed in Las Vegas, or in a psych ward in Las Vegas, in a wheelchair on tons of medication and just eating cafeteria food? I don't think so, and not on my watch. He's my father. I won't let anything happen to that man. I will tell you that he's been a huge pain in my ass. He's a Pisces. He's tried to ruin my life, and in a lot of ways, and it's probably not intended. But as I pick up this railroad spike, sure as shit, and bring that home as an artifact, I just think that life has different stages. And, wouldn't you want the way out to be like one of the best stages? Like when you look out the window, you see beautiful mountains. And when, and you get to have summer barbecues out on the deck and hang out with cool people and have camaraderie and love in your life. I love my father to death. And unfortunately, the dementia has got to him, and I've had to have a caregiver. Lori decided to be a pain in the ass, basically, and left as a result of us having our spats. I'm so tired of fighting people to try and love them. You know, if you're gonna be fighting me while I'm paying all the bills, working my ass off, and coming home and still being loving and supportive, and you're still being a narcissistic asshole, pardon me. I guess I won't put this one on for kids. You know, and then, you know, you can die. My father was a very arrogant man in his life, and very narcissistic and very all about him. And during the last parts before his dementia, was probably the worst. You know, I was out homeless in the pandemic, and he's a millionaire living in a mansion over by Lake Las Vegas, driving brand new cars. And they helped me. They helped me when they could. And I'm a survivor of homelessness in the pandemic and spiritual awakening when you're 47 years old, and people dying that are dear to you, and people leaving you in the dust because they don't think you're good enough. And none of it's true. None of it is true. I'm the best person I could possibly be. I'm Steve Howard 2.0. You know, I've been rebooted. Nothing in this world is worth more than a human life. And nothing in this world is worth more than a human soul. And I think that we all need to take a big look at ourselves and how we treat our elders, how we respond to emergencies in our families, how people treat us in our workplace, how people treat us in society when you're trying to get access to his bank account and they absolutely will not give you a single dime of his social security until you have all of the information and a picture ID in front of them. Then they will let him have his money. And so in the meantime, I'm sitting here completely broke, working full-time, working with my dad pretty much full-time. I have a caregiver, Jonathan, that we owe the world to, and you know, everything else. So it's a big burden, and it's something I wouldn't suggest too many people take on. But in some instances like mine, there's no other way, and there was no other way. They were going to put him in basically an institution, a home, and they were going to seize his assets and do whatever. And I wasn't going to let that happen. I just don't think it's right. And then you strip somebody of their whole life and just put them in a sterile environment and wait until they die? No. So my dad's had major experiences up here in Montana. I took him to Thousand Buddhas. I've taken him around to the rivers. We go do laundry regularly. We all work together and try to make a symbiotic household, and, you know, have some fun, have some friends over, have some social life, have a fire pit out on the deck and stuff, and try and enjoy life, you know, and share that with my father. That's a lot better than what he could be dealing with. So anyway, on the spiritual side, I've been just growing up as a person and developing myself to where I think I need to be. And I'm about to get back in the kayak and start paddling some pretty gnarly whitewater. It's coming. I was having trouble because I'm in a bit of depression from my father's situation. And then, you know, it's springtime and everybody's getting out and getting excited and active. And I'm older, so I got to be careful. I got to really stretch and get into mode. And I'll get in my kayak and look at the flows and go surf Brennan's wave and shoot some video of that and get that up here. And then, Pure Adventures Montana is a dream that I will never give up. So my first day was $1,000 day on the Clark Fork River. I'm looking for investors for Pure Adventures Montana, a kayak and paddleboard company for whitewater here in Montana. I need about $350,000 for 35%. And the company, actually, the last company I developed like this is in Las Vegas and is currently today worth $7.3 million. So long story, but right in the beginning, I gave up all my ideas to someone I shouldn't have, and they basically ripped me off and took the ideas in the company to superstardom. But that's history, and what I'm focused on today is what I'm doing now. And Montana is an amazing place. People don't realize what it has to offer, and during the spring, summer, and fall seasons, it's like 53, 54 degrees out. The river's beautiful. The sunshine's very warm and nice. And I'm getting ready to go to work. I'm going to go over to the hayloft and chef for the next 8 hours and act like Gordon Ramsay back there and be really picky on myself and make sure there's not anything wrong with anything. And that's what I do. Make sure you carry bear spray in Montana. You never know, there's bears out here. And I hope you guys have an excellent weekend and getting into St. Paddy's Day and everything. Enjoy the springtime, warmer weather. Get out, enjoy it. Go for a walk before work. It'll help your back in the long run. I think you got the message today. I really could use some help, and I'm open to help. And I've been helping people for a long time, and I don't ever expect anything in return, but I definitely could use some help. Pure Adventures is still going, and we're going to have our launch probably here in May. So a couple months away. Water will go through its flood stage and go back down. Should be perfect runnable stuff. You guys have a good day. We'll see you guys. Have a blessed day.